Good evening everybody, welcome to tonight's stream. We'll be starting proper in just a second, so sit back and enjoy the music and I'll talk to you again very shortly. Alright, good evening everybody, welcome to tonight's stream. Hopefully the theme tune has finished by the time I'm doing this, because the stream delay makes it difficult to time it sometimes. But I'm going to transition over anyway. Welcome to tonight's stream. We are here in Train Simulator 2018. I don't think we've transferred to 2019 just yet. But yeah, we are here. Hopefully there's no music playing. Doesn't look like there is. Good. I'm going to unmute the game audio as well. Evening, golfer. Alright, so today we're going to take a small trip down memory lane. When I was young, it's been a while actually since I last went there, but my family and I used to go to the Isle of Wight sort of once, twice a year, every year for summer holidays or October half term, whenever it might be. So I grew up spending a lot of time on the Isle of Wight. It's a very nice place. If you've never been there before, I do highly recommend it. This is in no way sponsored by the Isle of Wight Tourist Board, by the way. But one of my favourite things to do on the Isle of Wight was go to the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. You know, I like trains. There's nothing particularly exceptional about the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, but there is something exceptional about the Isle of Wight railway network as a whole. It used to be a lot bigger than it is now. It used to span right the way across from east to west, north to south. And there's a very famous, well I say very famous if you're in the know, there's some very famous photographs of Ventnor and Ventnor West stations, and the sheer cliff face that the station used to be built at the bottom of. Unfortunately it's all gone now, apart from the short stretch that the Isle of Wight Steam Railway runs on between Wootton and Smallbrook Junction via Haven Street, and the very quirky, very kooky island line that runs between Ryde Pierhead and Shanklin. And the reason I say it's kooky and quirky is it's electrified on the third rail system, but they use old London Underground stock. I think it's 1938 stock they use at the moment, which has been designated Class 483 and is actually, I believe, the oldest operating stock in the country, which is quite a title to have, but it, you know, badly needs a refresh. So we're going to be doing two scenarios tonight, one of which was already with the game, and one of which I created myself specially for tonight. The first one we're going to be doing is the one that was created with the game, and that's doing a very quick run between, I think it's Haven Street and Wootton. I'm not 100% sure. I know it ends up near Wootton, and it's just showing you what the island looks like currently. The island, the Isle of Wight Steam Railway currently looks like, and I'm already struggling to remember where the scenario was. So alright, I've got it. It's here, and it's called Lightning Strike. So a tree was struck by lightning at Wootton, causing the track to be obstructed. Volunteers have broken down the debris, but you must drive to Wootton with a couple of empty wagons to clear the remainder so the line can open. It's using the 040 ST saddle tank, Invincible, which I don't think I've ever seen run in real life. I've seen it there, but I've never seen it actually working. I should point out at this point as well, I do have both Champions League matches involving English teams on tonight, so I have just seen that Coutinho has scored for Barcelona. Lloris is back in goal, and yeah. I mean, he must be a good keeper because they won the World Cup, but I've never really rated Lloris myself. Anyway, we'll talk about Train Sim again for a second. So we're going to be running this route. showing what the Island Steam Railway currently looks like, and then we're going to be moving into an alternate reality to show what the line could be like were it to be rebuilt. So, ensure you have enough fuel by getting filled up from the Haven Street coal loading point. Let me remind myself where that is. Actually, let me also grab my second mouse so I can actually scroll the map a little bit easier. Alright, so Haven Street coal loading is directly behind us, actually, so that's fine. Shift 2. Oh, that's loud. Good lord, that's loud. Let's look behind. And we're going to start moving. Any second now. You're watching the Battle of the Port Cities. Oh, what? Liverpool versus Napoli. I've got both on. Using my dual monitors wisely, which is why I'm streaming Train Sim off my laptop tonight. Also the fact that Train Sim currently seems to work better on my laptop, so, you know, might as well use it while I've got it. I'm going to change those points preemptively, because I'm sure I'm going to be moving in that direction in a second anyway. I am currently driving using the keyboard, so some of my braking might be a little bit late. Did that work? Yeah, that worked. Good, good. Alright, now fully stocked up and have plenty of fuel for the journey. Collect the wagons which have been laid out at the Goosefield Siding 2. Couple them to the rear of your locomotive. So where is... Oh wow, it's miles away. Okay. Release the brakes and get ready to reverse. Get ready for the toot of the whistle as well. Just waiting for the brakes to fully release. I'm surprised actually that the speed limit is 20 through here. You'd think it would be slower than that. I was thinking more like 10. I'm also going to go back onto the right side of the locomotive. And brake. Whack it in forward, use the mouse for this. Okay, so now I'm pulling forward to... I'm going to pull forward to there, and then I can reverse back. Actually no, head shunt. Clues in the name. Alright, the pressure is going loopy. Turn down the game sounds, because oh boy is that deafening. I'm pretty sure no one can hear me. Alright, here we go. So this scenario will take about 20 minutes to complete. That's what it's scheduled to complete. And then the second scenario is about an hour and a half. So that takes us nicely close to 2 hours. I'm assuming I have permission. Oh yeah, shunt signal. Shunt signal. Still can't speak. I'm going to start braking now because I did notice this thing is a pain in the backside to slow down. And then I overbraked. Now we're rolling backwards. Oh, it's because I put it in the wrong gear. Probably shouldn't do that actually whilst you're moving. Not my finest move. Okay. And now I'll apply the brakes. And now whack it in reverse. So yeah, get a good look at what the line currently looks like, because it's going to look a little bit different in a second. Let me just make sure we're going into the right siding. So it's that one and that one. Yes. Okay. Stick it in reverse. Release the brakes. And quick toot of the whistle once the brakes have, I want to say charged, but I don't think that's the right term. But you know what I mean, fully released. I know that's not convention for driving steam locomotives as well, by the way, because I know you're supposed to put it in running mode after you've released the brakes, and I also know that you use the regulator and the reverser in order to control the amount of steam that goes into the cylinders. I am aware of these things. I just can't be bothered to drive the train properly at the moment because I kind of want to race through this bit because I really want to get into the second scenario. That's the bit I'm looking forward to this evening. Particularly as it's my debut making a scenario. Or at least a half decent one, not just for testing purposes. Oh, that's so close. Come on, game, you could have given me that. Harsh or what? There we go. Couple up. These two wagons will be used to move all the wreckage from the scene at Wootton. You can now set the junctions and head there now. I would if I could, but I don't think you can just drive straight out and up. No, so I've got to pull forward again, which is what I'm prepared to do now. Just move the reverser back to about 20%, I think is the norm. Go full throttle for a second. That should be plenty fast enough. So we've got to pull forward into the head shunt, reverse back into Haven Street platform. Oh, just down loop, it's called. And then we can start pushing forward towards Wootton. I think I should really have the cylinder cocks open as well, but I don't. I don't even know if this locomotive has cylinder cocks. Alright, that's actually pretty good braking, if I do say so myself. Okay, and now we can reverse. So, wait for the brakes to release again. I should have automatic fireman on. It's really weird. This is called Train Simulator, and it's supposed to simulate the experience of driving a train, but people accuse you of being unrealistic if you turn the auto fireman on, because apparently drivers fire the trains in their world as well as drive them. That's not accurate. It's actually more accurate doing it this way, and I will take that to court with me if I have to. Should have sounded the whistle before moving the vehicle. Did I just go up to 40 then? Okay, whack it in forward. Stick the brakes on. I've gone way too far back now. I can't change that junction. Where am I going? Go via Long Curve. Yeah, so I've got to go via Wootton. But that junction hasn't changed. Okay. Maybe if I start moving forward, or do I have to keep reversing? There's no option to change the junction. I'm going to keep reversing for a little bit and see if that's the problem. Still hasn't changed. What button opens the cylinder cocks? I thought it was C. Is it Shift C? Control C? Maybe this doesn't... every locomotive has cylinder cocks, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, is it working now? Are any junctions changing? There we go. So stick that there, do that there. Slow the train down. We've got the green. Alright, stop pulling that back. Now I can push that forward, put this into running mode. Now we can cruise to Wootton. The junction's changed again. Oh, steady on. Junction changed. Why did the junction change? Right, it's changed back. Quick, before it changes its mind. That's not good for the engine. There we go. And then whack this back to about 20%. Stick that forward. Put you in running. Now we can cruise off to Wootton. Okie dokie. Got good boiler pressure. Building up a good head of steam. Let's get this show on the road. I should have auto firing on. I don't know whether that's something that carries over or not. Alright, gotta make sure we don't speed. So I think the Isle of Wight Steam Railway is about 4 miles long. End to end. It might be 6. It's not the longest. It's a nice, quaint little route, essentially. And I feel like the driver should be on this side, but apparently driver's on the right hand side on this loco. Peep the whistle, because we got farm crossings to go by. Get some oomph going again. It's quite a quiet loco when you're not throttling up. Something like that, I think you're supposed to do. Okay, so we're approaching Long Curve, and then it's the Wootton run-round loop where we're supposed to be stopping. Quick sound and audio and visual check, Golfer. Everything looking good. I didn't miss a whistle board there, did I? No, I think that's the same crossing as before. Oh, bit of lag then. careful not to let it tick over into 21. Stop at Witten runaround loop and give the volunteers time to load up your wagons. Okay. Get ready to toot the whistle again. Wotton's quite a nice little station, actually. It's quite a nice little station. It's sort of tucked away. It's like it's just off a main road, but you wouldn't know it when you were there. You have to sort of go down a ramp onto the platform itself. There has been talk in the past about extending the railway back towards Newport, but it looks more and more unlikely because of how the road is built next to the railway. So it'd be a shame if that doesn't happen. But then, I think it's got enough character. It doesn't really need extending that side. They're talking about extending it into Ryde as well. I think that one is going ahead. In some form or another. So that should be a good enough extension, I feel. It technically has a connection to the National Railway as well. It's just on an island. So it's still difficult to get to. Right, apply the brakes. I think I've left braking a little bit late. I think I've come in a bit too fast as well. Health and safety and all that. Right, we are going to be reversing in a second, so I'm going to get ready to do that. Okay, good job. The volunteers are glad to see you. They muster enough energy to start loading the bits of wood and broken fence into your wagons. Wait here a minute until they are done. Well, I've kind of done that. So, by the time the brakes release, another sort of 30 seconds will have gone by. Is that auto fireman? Oh, that's the blower. In super quick time, the last remains of the lightning strike is loaded. You are given the go-ahead to return to Haven Street. Here we go. I think you're supposed to do the throttle a bit more like that. Oh, you're actually turning on and off a tap kind of thing. But I mean, we're rocketing back towards Haven Street now, so we don't need to worry too much about feathering the throttle. Okay, speed limit reached. We are now speeding. We are still speeding. We're going downhill. Yeah, we're going downhill. That's the problem. Here we go. Release the brakes. And then put it in running. Bring your train to a stop at Goosefield Siding 1 at Haven Street, where everything can be unloaded later in the day. So we've got to navigate our way back into that siding, and hopefully the dispatcher's being a little bit nicer to us this time. Alright, oops. Pressing buttons on my phone when I shouldn't have been. We're slowing down too much now. Go full woomph on the throttle for a little bit. We are 1.2 miles away from Haven Street. just about stopped us speeding there in the nick of time. Another quick toot just to make sure. Okay, we are 1 mile away. So is it the same? Oh, it's that siding this time. We got to change that point. Actually, that point, is it the same? I think it might be the same actually. Must be me being dumb. Oh, probably should have blown the whistle for that. We'll have a little bit of chug going on. Make the engine sound like it's doing a little bit of work. I need to remind myself how to drive a steam locomotive on this game. What platform is it putting us through, by the way? Alright, we are going back through platform down loop. I think it's platform 2 in real life. Oh wow, I'm just looking on the football. The pitch at Wembley looks awful. Good evening, Josh. Thanks for answering the question as well. Big help. Apply the brakes. We are speeding. Damn hills. So, quick recap for Josh. This is a look at what the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, or the Isle of Wight Railways, I suppose, currently look like. In a second, we'll be taking a trip into an alternate reality where things look a little bit different. So I wanted to sneak some steam into this this stream tonight. Ah, sneaky, sneaky. Alright, once again I am under braking and then over braking, as is my way. Now I'm hoping if I just release the brakes and start moving forward, the points will automatically change. But you just never know with this game. The bloody dispatcher. See, it just doesn't look like it's going to change unless I reverse all the way back. Still hasn't changed. Okay. I know you're not supposed to do this, but hey ho. Oh, it has changed now. Huzzah. Right. Back into the head shunt. Let's move this back to about there. And there we go. Release the chug. It's like release the Kraken, but, you know, less dangerous. Well, actually no, because if a boiler explodes, that's incredibly dangerous. Not that you needed to know that piece of information, but hey. Alright, reverse, and then we're going into, was it this siding? And that one. Goosefield 1. Not sure why it's called Goosefield. You know, as long as I've been going there, there's certainly been no geese in a field. There's no field there, it's been houses and car parks and things like that. I think in recent years, there's been a new carriage shed built here. Even this one here is relatively new. It's been built within the last sort of 10 years or so. Let's go back into realism mode, shall we? Alright, brakes should be in running. Self-lapped actually isn't a bad thing. I think running is advised. Oh, Barcelona and 2-0 up. Rakitic was it scored? Or someone in the middle of the melee. Alright, start applying the brakes. And then release them again. I think it was Rakitic scored. I used to be a fan of Rakitic, but not so much these days. That was a hell of a shot, though. That's why I used to like him, actually, because he'd hit shots like that. Alright, brakes firmly on. And that should be, yeah, the end of the scenario. And now we can move on to the alternate reality. So if you look at the title of the stream, current and fictional is what it says. This is the current. Now that the line is clear, normal service can resume for the remainder of the day. You did well in your role in the clear-up operation. Thank you, game. I nailed it. I think I did a little bit of speeding. Yeah, speeding twice. Don't worry, we're going to be speeding a lot more in just a second, I'm sure. And I know that this scenario we are chasing reds a little bit at the start. So I do have to bear that in mind. So there's a couple of routes on the Steam Workshop. I take no credit for the making of these routes, by the way. They're both made by a Steam user called Zeo, Z-E-O. He has two. He actually had one in the past called Isle of Wight Metro, which was the one I was originally looking for. But he removed it because he wasn't happy with a particular section. So he rebuilt that section. Originally, the whole idea of the route was, what would the Isle of Wight look like if they rebuilt all of the old lines from when they closed back in the 60s, but to third rail specification. So currently, as I said at the start of the stream, Wootton to Smallbrook Junction is one route, and that's the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, and then the other route is Ryde Pierhead to Shanklin, which is quite a short route in the grand scheme of things. It takes about 20 minutes, I think, to go from one end to the other, on both routes actually, if you count the speed limits. So this route rebuilds the existing, or the old, sorry, this route rebuilds the old routes to existing standards. So third rail, relatively up and downhill, and it links up Cowes, Newport, Carisbrooke, Ventnor, Bembridge, places like that. Places that used to have rail services. The line was ripped up and then rebuilt, essentially. So it's not like a what if it never closed. It's a what if there was a bill passed to rebuild the old routes. That's what this is. So he has two, like I said. So the Isle of Wight Metro was taken off the Steam Workshop, and this one came up to replace it, the Isle of Wight Extension. And this, there used to be a route from Totland Bay via Carisbrooke and Newport to Cowes. But the route creator wasn't happy with the roller coaster nature of the track because it was constantly going up and down hill because he was trying to follow the real life terrain. So I'm not quite sure how they did it in the old days. I guess that they flattened the existing embankments when they built houses or supermarkets or whatever it was. So this is the version I'm using. There is another one that I have also downloaded called the Isle of Wight Proposal, which says it tells a slightly different story of what if the Isle of Wight Steam Railway was extended to Ryde St John's, and then the Island Line was extended southwards towards Ventnor. And it's still a good route, but I'm not that much of a fan of that one. I am a fan of this one, however, and I made this little scenario here called End of the Day, which we are now going to run. It doesn't show off the whole route, and there aren't that many trains, because I did have some issues with timetabling and AI. But I got a few running, enough for some operational interest. So we're going to see a couple of trains pass. We're also going to see a mix of old stock and very old stock, as well as some slightly more modern stock as well. So we're going to be driving a Class 455. We are going to be seeing some of the old tube stock that exists on the island currently, although in a slightly different livery to what you expect. And we're also going to see a Turbo Star as well, because why wouldn't you? Not a Turbo Star, I'm talking about a Networker Turbo. Because there is a little bit of unelectrified sections of track. I'm a bit worried by how long this is taking to load. It's a fairly extensive route, I suppose. It's loading a lot more than the last one did. So I haven't tested the whole scenario, but I've tested the first half, which arguably is the more difficult half. Alright, good evening, driver. Tonight you are driving the last Cows to Ride Pierhead diagram of the day, calling at all stations to ride Pierhead before returning to Cows. You will then, there's a tube train there, you will then need to return the unit to the motive power depot at Haven Street before clocking off. Press T to open the doors, I'll do that now. Here at Cows, your scheduled departure time, oh, it disappeared. It says your scheduled departure time is 20:05, and then it goes on to say these are old units, so take care. So as you can see, that service is running, so the Carisbrooke line still exists in this route compared to the Isle of Wight Metro. Oh, you can't see the HUD. I can resize. I mean, is the HUD crucial? If it is, I can resize the game capture window, but there will be some black edges going on. Let's see. That size looks about right to me. And then if I do that, and then that. There you go. Let me know if that's better. What was I saying? Oh no, not too much bother at all. I like feedback. It helps me get things right. So yeah, the route that he originally had going to Totland Bay used to go from Newport. The line would split in two. One branch would go off towards Ryde via Smallbrook, Haven Street, Wootton. The other half used to go to Totland Bay via Carisbrooke. He has still got the Carisbrooke branch. It's a little shuttle type branch between Newport and Carisbrooke, and which I've got two of the old 1938 tube stock operating. All the trains on this scenario, by the way, are painted in Network Southeast, because I thought if they're rebuilding the route and going back to the good old days, then why not go back to the great old days when it was all Network Southeast. The train to our left is a train that is running to Ventnor via the Sandown branch. So that train is going to leave in just a second ahead of us. I know the light is yellow for us at the moment. That should turn red again in just a second, and the train will pull out. So that train leaves at in 2 seconds. 1 second. There we go. You can hear it pulling away. Light turns red. That train's going to go off, and then we're scheduled to leave in 2.5 minutes time. So yeah, we're going to go down to, we're going to go up to Ryde. I'll show you the route actually. That would have been smart, wouldn't it? So this is Cows. We come down here, we follow the River Medina down to Newport, and you can see here that's one Carisbrooke shuttle. The other one is there, just left Cows. Newport Station, in the original route was 4 platforms, now it's just 3, and we follow this very slow bend here. Wootton Station is here, it's gone back to 2 platform. Haven Street now looks completely different. It's where all the motive power depots and sidings and things are. Smallbrook Junction is now Smallbrook Chord, I believe it's now called. It's just called Smallbrook here, but there are 6 platforms. And then the route from Ryde down to Shanklin is pretty much the same, except it's double track now instead of single track. And then there's a branch here to Bembridge, which used to exist, which got torn up, which has now been relayed. This is now the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. They've relocated to the Brading to Bembridge branch via St Helens. And then the route used to terminate down here at Shanklin. It now extends a little bit further via a station called Wroxall down to Ventnor. Right, our departure time is in just a minute's time, so I'm going to whack this in forward, clear the AWS, and get ready to depart. We are chasing reds to begin with, because that train in front of us is going to be causing some problems regarding signals, but it's fairly realistic, I suppose. You can imagine that in real life. two trains leaving fairly close together. I struggled to come up with an efficient timetable for this. My laziness really made it so that it was one train leaves Cowes and at the same time one train leaves the other end of the line. So in our case it would have been Ryde or Ryde Pierhead, but I had trouble with the AI getting it to work. Like the train spawned, and when I tested it using the in-editor simulator, the train would move. But as soon as I came into this view to test it, the train would just stay at Ryde Pierhead. Even when we got to Smallbrook or Ryde St John's, the AI train was still stuck at Ryde Pierhead. So it's a little bit annoying. So I've just made it now as this is the last train of the day that runs between Cowes and Ryde Pierhead, and the Ventnor one I didn't even put in because I figured if the Ryde one wasn't going to work, then the Ventnor one certainly wasn't. Although I have got a train that leaves Sandown. Oops, nearly speeding then. I have got a train that leaves Sandown and operates a shuttle to a station called Fairley, which is between Newport and Wootton, and that one works fine. So Sandown seems to load in and the AI works, and Ryde Pierhead doesn't. I'm thinking, as well as it being a distance thing, I think it might also be a signalling issue, because I know that I checked some online forums and they said sometimes you need a few signal blocks between the AI train and a junction, or something that it can interact with for it to actually kick into life properly. That was the idea actually, because when I first came up with the idea of making a scenario on this route, or playing this route, because the scenarios that came with the route wouldn't load for me, which is why I ended up having to make my own. But I had a look on YouTube to see if anyone else has made videos on it, and no one, apart from Matt Pedalston, no one else has made videos on this route, which I find staggering, because it's a really, really good route. And just to pique your interest, Josh, there are some slow points, 20 miles an hour, 30, 40, but you do get up to 75 on this route, which is what we're doing now, although there is a red signal. I think it's not this one, it's the next one. All AWS ramps are set to send alerts, by the way, and all signals are set to amber by default. Mainly because of, it says on the workshop when you download the route. But it's to do with the signal blocks aren't that far apart, so it's to make sure that the driver is always on their toes. So I am going to whip this into 70. Oh yeah, this is the first red signal coming up here actually. So you'll see what I mean about chasing reds. Hell yeah. And if you make a scenario on this route, I'll happily run it on stream as well, next time we play Train Sim. I like these routes. I'm not a big fan, like London to Brighton, which you do need to have this route, so I did have to buy it. But I'm not a big fan of that. But I love this idea of alternate reality, what-if scenarios, because you do get to run modern trains, or modern-ish. I mean, the 455s aren't that modern. You get to run modern-ish trains on a sort of fictitious route. It's quite fun. You'll have to send me a list, because I did have to buy some routes in order to run this route. Even though the scenarios, that's what bugged me actually. The scenarios didn't load. I had no option to start playing the scenarios because apparently I didn't have all the DLC. Despite the fact I checked the list 4 times and it said I had all the DLC. Here's another tube train, by the way. 38 stock. I don't think they go very fast. Another one of the reasons why I wanted it to be lots of different trains running around is I wanted to make lots of different scenarios. Kind of make this into a modular scenario creator, where at the moment we're running the Cowes to Ryde Pierhead return diagram, but what if you could jump into the next train, sort of recreate service mode on Train Sim World in many respects, and have I think there's another red signal coming up actually, so I better start slowing down and concentrating. But what if you could then just jump on the Cowes to Ventnor train and run that as a scenario as well, or do the Sandown to Fairley shuttle, or the Cowes to Carisbrooke shuttle, that kind of thing. That's what it's what inspired me to do. So it's a bit annoying that I couldn't get all the AI trains to work, but I suppose it also makes me a little bit concerned. If I spawn a train at Ryde Pierhead and make that the player train, will the 3 over at Cowes then stop working? I need to test that. Alright, so we are pulling into Fairley. Some of these stops are timetabled, some of them aren't. There's no career score or anything like that, so you won't get penalised if you're too late. And I mainly did that because I knew I would run late a lot. And I also have to stop at a precise point here, otherwise the doors won't open, as I found out Sunday night, where I thought I'd broken the scenario and it turned out I just had to reverse a little bit. Alright, there should be fine if we stop. There we go. And there we go. So all the doors should open, except they don't for some reason here. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. It's not that bothersome if you're in the cab, which we will be for the majority of this scenario. But yeah, this is a really good route. I really, really like it. It's so well done. There are a couple of points where I know there's a road or I know there's a building, and it's very obvious that that asset has just been removed, or not added in this case, I suppose, so that the railway could go through there. But the majority of it is pretty damn accurate. Right, I'm assuming we got the right of way. So we'll whack it in forward and get this party rolling. Zio's also taken real care to make sure all the bridges echo, all the tunnels echo. The actual big tunnel between Ryde Esplanade and Ryde St John's has been removed on this route, so that you can run full-size stock. So I like that he's thought of that as well. So I know in real life they had to lower the tunnel, they had to lower the height clearance of the tunnel so that the road above wouldn't collapse, which is why tube trains are the only stock really that can now run on this route. So it's nice that he's replaced the road over the top with a bridge. Alright, I think I might have slowed down enough that we're not going to be chasing too many reds now. The train in front of us, we are following all the way up to Smallbrook, so there might be a couple more reds. I'm trying to drive fairly conservatively so that we're not constantly stop-starting, because that's less efficient than just driving slowly. The 455 is not the chosen train necessarily. It's the train I chose because my own little law for the route was, when they rebuilt the track, that instead of buying new trains, they just inherited the old trains that were being cascaded from the lines to Waterloo. Oh, see, there's a red. Alright, we're going to be running into Newport fairly slowly, because I don't want to hit the train in front, obviously. In fact, the train in front has cleared the block, so I'm not sure why the signal is still red. But there's certainly room for diesels on this route. Oh yeah, I mean, Train Sim Live used 455s as well, which I only found out after I got them for this route. It's a happy coincidence. So originally I used Southern branded Electrostars, and then I thought actually Portsmouth is the station where people get the ferry over to Ryde. So it'd make more sense if they inherited it from the Portsmouth direct line. Or at least, you know, the lines out of Waterloo. But there's plenty of room for diesel trains on this route. There's a bay platform at Sandown that's not electrified. There's a little tramway section between Ryde Esplanade and Ryde Pierhead that's not electrified. There's the route between Bembridge and Brading, which is set up for a heritage railway, but you could easily use DMUs on there as well. it's got that customization feel. And for those of you that are interested, the Carisbrook branch goes into a tunnel there. And I think it does like a really sharp 90-degree bend, which we're also about to do, but in the other direction. So we've had to follow the river south. The reason you can't just go from Cowes West to Cowes East is because there's a whopping great big river in the way. So we're about to cross over that river now. And this is arguably the slowest and in some ways most difficult section of the line, because it goes uphill here and then it goes very sharply downhill straight after, and then it goes very sharply uphill again, and you've got to keep to 20 miles an hour whilst you do it. And you've also got to watch the signals, of course. Yeah, I love this route. I'd happily drive this route for weeks and weeks on end. Alright, that is showing me that the next signal, I believe, is a red. So I will get ready to stop. It's nice that they put a repeater there, but they haven't anywhere else on the route. This, actually driving this route, I've driven it a couple of times in testing, and it's helped me with my plans for Somerset Hills as well, in terms of signal placement and how train operation will work and platform positions and things like that. It's really helped me with that. Alright, we got the signal. I think we've got the signal now into Fairley. Yes, we have. Awesome. Oops, it's still 20. I got so excited about the signal being clear. I'm just going to let the hills slow us down. There we go. Now it's 50. So it's a good thing it's not a Canario. I'm going to say that from now on. Career scenario is now a Canario, and a Stenario is the non-career ones. So it's not a Canario, so I won't get butchered in the score. But I'd still like to conform to the rules and regs. Yeah, I mean, the story of the route that Zayo's created is it's around between 2018 and 2020 the route gets rebuilt. But it's kind of, the island is pretty timeless. So you can make the scenario based in any time period. You could also do a what if the lines never closed to begin with type scenario if you really wanted to. Which I think is pretty cool. Don't be gone too long, Josh, because you'll miss the Networker Turbo. Because we pass that just as we get, I think it's somewhere between Wootton and Haven Street. And this station here, Fairley, it's a 3-platform station. And this is where that service terminates from Sandown. At least that's where I've made it terminate. It probably doesn't if this was to be real. I'm not even sure where Fairley is, whether it's a town outside of Newport or if it's a part of Newport. I'm not 100% sure of that. Newport is the capital of the Isle of Wight, for those that aren't aware. Alright, let's get some passengers on board. I like the noises. It's good sound on this train. This is almost enough to turn me over to the dark side of modern traction, this train. I really like it. And the Network Southeast livery as well is a real throwback for me. Alright, so there's the Cowes to Ventnor train. And the Sandown Fairley shuttle is just about to leave Haven Street. So we will be passing it somewhere between Haven Street and Wootton, I would wager. Alright, doors shut right away. I'm just going to check, because I've checked a couple of times and I couldn't find it anywhere, if there is a button to do the sound to the guard. It's wherever the door controls are. Is it here? No, that's to do with power. It must be on this side. That's to do with braking. Maybe there aren't any. Maybe it is just a guard signal. Oh, I didn't put my headlights on. As I'm professional. So we've got the driver reminder appliance there. What's that? Cab to cab call. Ooh, interesting. I've got to watch the speed here because we do have to slow down shortly. We got up to 75 and then we quickly go down to 30 and then up to 40 again for the Wootton section. I am now speeding. See, I get distracted. Very easily distracted. Yeah, I'm not sure if there are door controls. Cab lights, destination, something there, something there. Yeah, I'm not sure. Alright, just a quick check. The signal ahead of us is red, so we have to slow down for that. Hopefully I've left us enough time to stop. I'll be keeping an eye out. There you go. We should be able to just roll up to it now. I was doing a quick check to see where the... So yeah, the Sandown train is approaching. The Cowes Ventnor train is just leaving Wootton. So that signal has now turned amber. So we can push on again. Let's confirm that. Yep. So I actually stopped in this old platform. And I don't know what station this is. I'm surprised it wasn't rebuilt as part of the route. But I stopped in the platform to wait at the signal, which I thought was quite cool. That might be God's Hill, actually, back there. Thinking about it. Oh no, Whippingham. Okay. Because it's not... The entire route hasn't been rebuilt. There are lots of stations that used to exist that haven't been recreated in this route. Which I think is also... you know, within the realms of reality, essentially. A lot of this is feasibly possible to rebuild. Alright, so we have to slow down for 30. Again, this is a tricky section of track, because we're on a steep uphill gradient, and yet we have to slow down to 30 to go around this bend. I think he might have moved Wootton Station slightly, in order to get the platforms in, and then go under the road. Which is why there's this sharp curve. It's a brilliant job. And there's the Sandown train. You go, you can see it's a networker turbo. I won't accelerate too much because we're about to arrive at the station. So there you go. The turbo is pulling away just as we're arriving. I think I timed that pretty good actually. I would have preferred to pass it on the section between Wootton and Haven Street, but I've had to slow down a fair amount because they're chasing reds. Alright, and stop here. So I should, in theory, get some screenshots from this, shouldn't I? For, there we go. That should be the screenshot of the stream. In fact, what button hides the hub? It's HUD, it's F1, isn't it? Oh no, F2? Oh, no. F3. That's the reduced hub. F4. No. F5, F6, F7, F8, F9. Whoops. Don't want to do that either. We need to move. Why is that not going down to 0? Where's the brake? There we go. We got a screenshot there at least. I have to try and remember what the button is to remove the HUD. Is it F11? No. I thought taking a screenshot did it actually, but apparently not. Alright, we're going to slow down here because it is quite steep downhill. Maybe when Josh returns he can tell me what the button is. Right, so this is the route of the Isle of Wight Steam Railway that we're on now, between Wootton and Haven Street. I think I was supposed to sound my horn there, actually. Whoops. For a farm crossing that we just went over. Alright, we get to accelerate back up to 75 now. Okay, this signal is flashing yellow. Normally that means diverging track, but it could mean... No, it doesn't mean speed restriction. Because we are... Let me check what colour the signal is. It is amber, so we are cleared into Haven Street now. So I'll start slowing down for that now, and you'll see how different Haven Street now looks compared to the Steam Railway Haven Street. This one does look a little bit different. Already you can see on the right hand side there with the motive power depot, which we will be returning to at the end of this scenario. There's also some staging sidings directly to our right. It's gone from being a 2-platform station to a 4-platform station, including a bay platform, which is the one on the extreme right. I'm trying to clear an imaginary AWS warning. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. And I was trying to work out a way to have the platform on the left come into use as well. I might in future direct some of the services into that platform instead of the one that we're going into here. Alright, Haven Street. Let's get another screenshot, shall we? Sort of down. A bit like that. There we go. Let's move my cursor out of the way, actually. There we go. There's plenty of this scenario still to come, so plenty of more opportunities to get some good screenshots. Alright, brakes released. Next stop, Ashy, which has also been upgraded from a little halt, request stop type station. It's now a full station on the route. I did also toy with the idea of having this service skip certain stops, so don't stop at Wootton, don't stop at Ashy, maybe even don't stop at West Medina, but I thought actually there are no express services on the island currently, so it made sense just to stick with that idea of there are no express services on the island. But in future I might toy around with the idea of having some express services. I think there's a head shunt we're just about to go past there. Right, so until the return journey we don't actually pass any more trains. So that's it for operational interest for the time being. Actually, I think by the time we get back to Haven Street, the Sandown shuttle has already gone back to the depot, and by the time we get back to Newport, I think both shuttles have already returned to the depot as well. We'll have to see. Right, we are slowing down. Well, I say slowing down. There's a 60-mile-an-hour limit here. I think I've missed some more whistle boards, by the way. I apologise if I have. Here's one. Signals double yellows. Alright, and it's the steep climb up to Ashy now. Josh, if you're back, can you remind me what button gets rid of the hub? Just so I can get a couple of good screenshots, particularly on the journey back. Then that'd be awesome. Alright, Ashy Station. I haven't had a good chance to look at Ashy Station, actually. So at this point, I'm mostly concerned with, are the trains still working properly? But we got about 30 seconds or so, so I'm going to have a good look at the station. So that signal is flashing because we do diverge from the main route in a second. Alright, let's have a look at Ashy. So what have we got? Not a lot. There is a station car park. It looks like this is being treated as like a park and ride. That looks like a hotel. But besides that, it's sort of in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, really, this route makes sense in many respects, because there are lots of people that live on the island that would work on the mainland, and there are lots of people on the mainland that might work on the island. So, you know, the idea of particularly linking Newport with Ryde again via rail is something that I think should happen in real life. It would mean the sacrifice of the steam railway unless they can do two tracks next to each other. But I actually think it's a good idea to have trains running in and out of Newport again. Cowes, again, actually Newport to Cowes, because the main ferry routes, there's Yarmouth on the west side of the island, and then there's Cowes on the north, Fishguard sort of to the northeast of Cowes, and then Ryde up on the very tip. I think it's on the tip. Let me check. Is Ryde further north than Cowes? Oh no, Cowes is further north than Ryde. Of course it is. Getting my geography mixed up. But yeah, you know, there's two ferry routes from Ryde to Portsmouth. One goes to Portsmouth, one goes to Southsea, to be pedantic about it. The one from Fishguard goes to Portsmouth as well. And then the one from Cowes goes to Southampton, and the one from Yarmouth goes to... God, I'm trying to remember. It's west of Southampton, I know that much. Alright, we can accelerate because this signal is also yellow. And I think the train in front has already diverged towards Brading and Sandown and that route. So we can actually... we're no longer chasing yellows. For the time being. Like I said, I haven't tested the second half of this scenario. So we could end up chasing that train again. It could end up chasing us, of course. I'm really over braking on this route. I'm so paranoid. I don't want to miss a station on a scenario that I created. Alright, so you can see here the main platforms that we're calling at are directly ahead of us, and then the route that diverges off to the right is the route towards Shanklin, Ventnor, Sandown, Brading, Lake, Wroxall, that way. Now these four platforms are quite close together. We got staggered platforms on this branch, which I think is also a nice little touch. The other platforms, which are the current platform that exists in real life, plus the second track that Zio has added, they're actually quite a long way away from here. I'll show you in a second just how far away they are from where we currently are. I'd like to try and stop before the level crossing alarm starts, but I don't think that's possible. Yeah, it's not possible. Alright, so to show you very quickly what's going on here, we're here, the second set of platforms is here, and the third set of platforms is right the way over here, but it's all classed as the same station. So imagine that I think the steam railway comes around from here, so this would be where the steam railway's platform is, here, and then the Island Line platform is here. So all of the rest of this has been sort of created from scratch almost. But it's a really, really good job that he's done with it. Really good job. Alright, let's go back into the cab. Release the brake. And let's get going. So it's 40 miles an hour out of here. I'd like to see PTG Rail do a route learning video on this as well. That'd be cool. Oh, I hate those alarms. They do their job well. They're supposed to attract attention, and boy do they do that. Alright, we're approaching 40. We're going downhill as well, so there's no rush to accelerate to max speed. We have 7.5 minutes at Ride Pierhead before we return towards Cowes, so there is plenty of toil, I suppose, for if we arrive late. That's my uniform thing as well. All terminus stations, you have at least 7.5 minutes to turn around before you drive the route back. That includes all the shuttles, all the main routes, everything. Alright, so we're not chasing yellows now, so I feel a little bit more confident pushing the train. Alright, we'll start braking at about 0.4. There. I'll put it in 33% for now. Because yeah, testing this scenario is the first time I drove this train as well, so I still don't know 100% what its braking distances are. 0.2 feels like a realistic place to start braking, but I don't want to overdo it or underdo it. So this is Ride St John's, which in real life is the headquarters of the Island Line. So there's in real life there's a depot off to the right hand side. It is still a 3-platform station in the real world. I think he's just reused the existing station at this point. And the motive power depot, as you can see, has now been moved to Haven Street, so that houses and rivers and some other stuff apparently is now being built over on the left hand side there. Alright. Ride St John's Road. So we got Ride Esplanade as the next station, and then Ride Pierhead. And then we return to Cowes, stopping at all stations, and then we go to the depot. While we're stopped at the Pierhead, I'm going to look up how to remove the HUD so I can get a good screenshot for the thumbnail for the video. Alright, good to go. I like the sound on this train. I'd love to know what the Armstrong Powerhouse pack adds to this train, because it already feels like a pretty decent train. But I'm a complete novice judging that at the moment. Okay, 20 miles an hour here. So the tunnel in real life starts just around this corner, I believe. So we go under this road bridge here, and then it slopes down into the tunnel. So you'll be able to see in a second how that has now changed. Oh, Spurs have scored. Harry Kane, no less. Their saviour once again. So yeah, I think the tunnel... Actually, maybe not. I think it's around here, actually, that the tunnel starts. I think it's here. It dips down underground. But yeah, we're going past a couple of waypoints. There's a freight loop. Some kind of loop off on the left-hand side here. I was thinking about putting freight trains on this route as well, because there is a depot that we passed on the way out of Cowes on the left-hand side. Don't know if anyone saw that. There's some kind of freight depot there that we could have used. So I'll look at doing that in the future. I wanted to get the scenario ready for tonight, but now I've got this one working, I can start experimenting a little bit more with different ideas. Maybe liaise with Josh and see if we can create something together. Alright, so we have a 20 mile an hour limit coming up, which I'm going to be speeding for by the looks of things. Ooh, just about got caught speeding there. It was close. So again, in the real world, this would be the point where it goes from double track to single track. The remaining line does exist all the way up to Ride Pierhead. It is double track, but only one side is used for Island Line services. In my fictitious world that I've created for this, though, the left-hand track that we're on now will be for services from Cowes, and the right-hand track will be services from Newport. Slow down a little too much there. So you can see there's an extra platform on the left-hand side. It used to exist in real life. It doesn't exist currently. Again, the track sort of still exists, but there is no platform. This is used for like a little up and down shuttle service in this route. And again, I did have a train. When I first created the scenario, I did have a train that operated there going up and down, and I used the steam loco and two Isle of Wight steam railway carriages to try and bring back the good old days of steam. Because, you know, Ryde Pierhead, steam trains used to run up and down the pier before it became the Island Line. That would have been something really cool to see, steam trains operating on a pier. But yeah, we've got a couple more seconds here, and then we're going to be driving up to the pierhead itself. 20 mile an hour all the way, apart from right up at the end where it goes down to 15. And then we're going to be sat at Ryde Pierhead for about 7.5 minutes. It's probably going to be less than that because I'm running a little bit late. So yeah, we're expecting in at 20, 40, I'm speeding, 10 miles an hour? Really? That sort of snuck up on me. I think it goes up to 20 again in a second. We're expecting in at 20:41. We're actually arriving a minute late. But it means we're not sitting there for as long, waiting for the return journey. There we go back up to 20 now. Oh, Barca have just made it 3-1. Messi scored. Another goal in England for him. Oh, I'm speeding again. Not paying attention, too busy watching football. It's quite a sight to see in real life, watching the trains go up and down the pier. I think there's a train every half an hour on the Island Line. Fairly regular. Okay, the first time I ran this as a test, I stopped perfectly on the buffers. So I'm going to try and recreate that, because the train just about fits in the platform here. We are a 6-carriage unit. So I will be fanning the brakes here, just to make sure we do stop in the right place. Slowly but surely. There we go. Not bad. Alright, so I'm going to quickly look up Train Simulator, remove HUD. Control 1 to 4. It does say F1. You can also customize the HUD with Control 1 to 4 in the options menu. So yeah, it is saying F1. But when I did F1, yeah, F1 does that for me, which is not what I want. I want the actual HUD. Use Control F12 to hide the HUD when taking screenshots. So let's come down this end of the train to about there, and we'll do Control F12. Which I don't think it works on a laptop, because I have to press Function F12 to get it to take screenshots. So I might just have to hide the HUD when I go in Photoshop. Apparently F1 should hide everything. Maybe Function F1 doesn't do it. Oh, hang on, that's Train Sim World. No, train simulator I typed in. F5? Which for me does nothing on my keyboard. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to put the reverser back in 0 here. Brakes are still on. I'm going to put the brakes on a little bit harder actually. And then we're going to go Control plus plus plus. Oh, hang on. I've got to turn off the lights, which was it Control F4? Put the tail lights on. Yep. And then it was it F3 for that HUD, and then go Control plus plus plus. Put the lights on. There we go. So we are now ready to depart back towards Cowes. You can press the camera button on the HUD to take a photo without the HUD showing. Is that on this HUD? Camera button. Am I missing something? Or is it this HUD? No, it can't be that one. Oh, I need to put a briefing there as well. I need to edit this scenario a little bit more before I publish it on the Steam Workshop, which I'm very tempted to do. Oh, camera button. Duh, right there. Alright, so zoom down to about here. Beautiful! Thank you, Josh. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's blue square on the HUD screen with the camera on it. Yeah, I know. I feel stupid. Don't worry. I feel very stupid for not spotting that glaringly obvious button. I'm too busy looking at sort of the ones with all the camera views, thinking, oh, it must be there because, you know, camera. But no, not even close. This is a stunningly beautiful location. Look at this. I might start uploading my screenshots to something like Instagram as well. Get a nice vista towards Ryde. It's glorious. Maybe get a Flickr or a Tumblr account and link them all there. Something cool like that. Alright, we are nearly ready to start the return journey. I think it's about 2050 that we start running back. Or 49, it might be 49. It's either just before or just after 2050. See, when I first started creating this scenario, it was actually going to start at the beginning of the day. And you'd come out of the depot, up to Ryde, up to Cowes, sorry, run to Ryde, and then return to Cowes, and then the next shift driver would take over. But I had some problems setting all the trains to come out of Haven Street Depot at the same time, whereas the way I've got it working at the moment, at the end of the day, they run their last scheduled diagram and they all return to the depot at different times. So by the time we get there, all the other trains should already be in the depot waiting for us. Kind of like, you know, the end of Thomas Tank Engine episodes where they're all back in the shed. Kind of that sort of thing. I also contemplated having it, the scenario set today. So, what's today's date? The 3rd of October, 2018. But because I set it to be realistic, I set it to autumn, it was pitch black. Which, you know, it is outside if you look out your windows. So I decided to set it in summer instead. So I think this is like the 1st or something of June. This is actually set. Last journey of the day, calling at all stations to Cowes. So I can release the brakes. And we can start heading off towards Cowes. Little friendly toots. So everyone's got their last ferry back to the mainland, and those that got the last ferry back to the Isle of Wight. I don't actually know the ferry timetables, but I'm assuming it's something along those lines. They can now catch their train home via all the big towns on the Isle of Wight, with the exception of Sandown, Shanklin, Ventnor, and Brading, and Lake. The island is very small, especially to drive. If you're in a car, you know, I think it's half an hour, 45 minutes to drive across the longest part of the island, east to west. It's not that big a place. Like, between Newport and Sandown, it takes about 10 minutes to drive, and that's if there's traffic. I'm driving slowly here because I know that there's that hidden 10-mile-an-hour bit that likes to sneak up on you. If you're making more scenarios, then timetable AI so that when the player is scheduled to pass the AI, end the AI at the next appropriate place so that there isn't any unneeded instructions or movement without the player actually seeing it unless absolutely necessary. Well, that's kind of why... Because I could have spent ages with a piece of paper and a pencil trying to work out where each train is supposed to be at each point. Or I figured out, okay, it's not going to be the same for anyone else playing it necessarily, but my laptop is powerful enough. You know, the frame rate in this has been pretty good, if I do say so myself. And that's running the scenario full graphics settings and everything. And that's also with trains just simulating the journey. Because instead of trying to predict where the trains are going to be at certain points, why not just make them follow a timetable, and then they'll be where they're supposed to be at that point. Oh, Spurs have scored again. I keep missing goals. And Sissoko's coming on. The man, the myth, the legend. No, you can take two of those out. He's definitely a man. I'm not sure about the others. Oh, that was a massive deflection on that shot. I don't even think the initial shot was going in till it hit the defender there. I get your point though, Josh, because not everyone's going to have powerful PCs. There's no portals on this route as well, which makes it difficult. Otherwise, I'd have them disappear into portals. I could go into an editor, I suppose, and add the portals in myself, but I don't really want to change the route, because the route is perfect. There's nothing wrong with the route. Alright, here we go. 10 mile an hour for a second, and then we go up to, there we go, up to 20. Yeah, let's not mention that cursed name. Yeah, I'm not going to add portals in myself. I like the route. I don't want to make any changes to the route. Not at this point, anyway. Maybe in the future, I'll add a couple of extra stations in at certain points. Or I'll add some more passing loops or reversing points, something like that. Just for operational interest. But if I could work out how to get the AI from ride to cows working, I'd love to give that another crack. This train accelerates really quickly. It's a bit of a nightmare to control at times. There you go, push everyone into the back of their seats. Something else I found interesting when I first did this route. I got stopped at a red signal just outside Smallbrook on the way to... just outside Ryde St John's on the way to Ryde Esplanade. And I thought, wonder why that is. And it turns out there's two waypoints that you saw there. One says to Ryde and the other says to Smallbrook. And if you don't route the train via that waypoint, when it runs between Ryde Esplanade and Ryde St John's, it always cuts onto the right-hand line because it's the shorter route between the two. Imagine Sissoko scoring against Barcelona. Imagine Sissoko scoring. I mean, let's not run before we can walk, eh? Alright, it's coming to the end of the 20. Going to be accelerating. Well, I say accelerating. We're pretty much going to be cruising at this point into Ryde. When we stop here, I will just check where the other train is, the one that was due to run down to Ventnor. See if we're going to be running into trouble with that. I think it's going to be following us. Although we're probably running late compared to our original timetable, so we could end up following it again. I'm not against that idea, because at least we will see another train. Okay. Beautiful. I do like how the trains are just long enough to fit in these platforms as well. That's pretty cool. Alright, the Sandown to Fairlie shuttle is there. The Cows to Ventnor train, I think it's stuck down here now. I'm not sure if it's going to move from there. Unless it's only just got there, of course. It might have only just got there. I mean, the signal's amber, so it is cleared to go. Keep an eye on that. The Sandown to Fairlie train. Where was it? So that's running back down towards Sandown now. So again, I don't think we'll catch that one either. Okay, here we go. Soko had a good chance just now, but the scoreline says 2-3 still. Nice of you to drop back in, Golfer. About an hour after I asked you to help me with a sound check. Alright, 55 between here and the 40 limit just before Smallbrook. Is that a whistle board? Yes, it is. A whistle and an AWS. Lovely. Alright, start braking for the 40 limit. Things to see, people to do. Hey! You stealing more of my catchphrases. For those of you that aren't aware, Golfer, my brother, he has his own YouTube channel. He's been doing a Crash Bandicoot playthrough. Every now and then I like to watch his videos just to pretend that I'm supporting him in his channel, like he does me. And I noticed that he started ending his videos using "Until next time, I'll see you soon." And like, I've never been that bothered about people stealing my catchphrases before, but I felt very territorial about that one. That's been my outro for 5 years now. To hear someone else say it, it just felt weird. Just felt wrong, you know? You've had that outro for a year. Well, that shows how often I watch your videos then, doesn't it? I only really watch them at the moment when you put them on, because I'm waiting for you to finish the series so I can binge watch it. It looks like we're both going to be doing Spyro series as well, so we'll be in direct competition with each other. Except Tom's a completionist and I'm just run around doing this, that and the otherist. So you'll see two different gameplay styles. Oh, I thought I'd overdone it then. That last little bit of braking from sort of 5 miles an hour down works quite well. Front doors haven't opened because I think we're just over the edge of the platform, but the rest of the doors look like they're open, so we should be fine. That's not the zoom that I wanted. That's the zoom I wanted. Check the rear doors. Yep, they're all open. Good, good. Alright, we have got the light. Again, you can't really see it well from here, but we have got the light out of Smallbrook, so the other trains aren't near enough to cause any problems. I just want to check. Aha! The Cows Ventnor train is now operating, so it will be following us. If I don't get a move on, it'll be right up our backsides. Here we go. Yeah, exactly. You've made 100 videos in a year. I think my first year I made something like 250. I must have over 1,500 videos on my channel now. You've got subscribers now. One day I might join them. I thought I was subbed to you. I might not be actually, because I don't get no, because I don't get notifications when you upload. I'll have to sub to you, assuming you're still subbed to me, of course. Which actually is a good point for me to say. Moobot has already asked you to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. You can also follow me on Twitch. You can subscribe to me on Twitch as well if you'd really like to. Or you can leave some lovely donations or just cheer some bits. You can also say hello in the chat. Oh, green signal. And yet the AWS still went off. It's 889 now. We lost someone. I don't know who, but we lost someone. Alright, I'll let the train coast a little bit into Ashy. Platform 2. Is that another whistle board? Yes, it is. Alright, I'm coming in a bit hot. Oh no! I was so busy waiting for the AWS and the whistle that we are still going to stop with the back half in the platform. There we go. If you'd like to get off at Ashy, please head to the rear of the train. Deary me, that was bad. Apologies everyone for that upsetting scene there. So I think I'll take another screenshot at Haven Street in front of the Motive Power Depot. So you get to see the other angle of it this time. I think one of the Carisbrooke shuttles might already be there. Okay, here we go. It's different to last week's stream, this one, isn't it? I'm actually driving a train. Was there a stream last week? There might not have been, actually. 2 weeks ago, when I played Train Sim World, and I just ran around hopping on trains and trying to decouple locomotives to troll. It turns out that doesn't work, by the way, because the game is programmed to recognise whole consists. So if you uncouple a locomotive, it no longer recognises that as a full train, so it won't leave. It is actually, there's a whistle board there, the editor for Train Sim World is almost out, but it looks very complicated. It looks like you need to download something from Unreal, or from Epic, sorry, to use the Unreal Engine, and you also need some basic programmer knowledge. So it might be a bridge too far for me, but we'll see. If it's a free client, I'll download that at least and take a look. Alright, so I'm going to start slowing down about 0.4 miles away from Haven Street. I'm going to do 33% braking. We are on a downslope, so I will bear that in mind. We are back on the steam railway route now as well, by the way. Alright, now I'm going to ease off on the brakes again. And then 0.1... Actually, that's a stupid idea. I'll just go back on the brakes now. So you want to enter the platform... Normally, I think it's about 20 miles an hour, so we're coming in a little bit fast still, but we should still stop in the right place. Whoops, I just eased off the brakes too much at the end there. If I hadn't have done that, we'd have stopped in the perfect place. But as it happens, we're now in the wrong place. That's fine though. Right, so I'm going to zoom right out. And this is probably going to be the video thumbnail. There we go. And zoom back in. I'll have a quick look, because I think one of the shuttle trains should be on its way. This one's coming down now. Yeah, so we are going to pass... We should pass both of them now between here and Cowes. Neither of them are actually here though. Alright. Ease off the brakes. And off we go. So when we return here from Cowes, we will be pulling into platform 1. And then reversing into the head shunt, which is just up here, which you can't see because I've just gone off the screen. And then reversing back. I think we're going into shed 1 or shed 2. I'll have to check that. Well, we'll find out in a minute anyway, so. I see Liverpool are really entertaining their fans this evening. What a barnstormer. All that passing around the centre circle really tires a fan out, you know. Alright, so until we get to that 40, we can open the taps up and see what this train can do. Is there not a sight? There it is. That's what I wanted. Looks quite nice in Network Southeast, doesn't it? The old toothpaste livery. That was close. Again though, green signal. There we go. Approaching ye old Wootton. Again, I'll just let gravity slow the train down for the time being. So I'll start braking at around 0.15. So about here. Again though, the hill. Just slowing down a bit too much there. I think this scenario, so far, we haven't seen the end of it yet, but so far, it's gone quite well. I'm quite pleased. As a first proper attempt at making a scenario, I'll ignore the Somerset Hills ones, because I made the route and the signalling's all wrong, which is why that one wasn't working properly. But for this one, I'm very happy with it. It's a very well made route, and I felt I needed to do it justice with this scenario. There you go. We stopped in the right place this time. I'm a little bit... I mean, I'm not confused with the signals. The signals work fine. I understand how signalling works, but like this one here is double aspect. I'm not sure why that is in the grand scheme of things. I'm not complaining though. Alright, so there's the Sandown Fairley shuttle. There's the other Cowes to Vent, or the Cowes to Ventnor train, not the other one. There's only one. We're going to be passing the Carisbrooke shuttle shortly. Again, I'm not quite sure what the top speed of these trains are. I might do a little mini scenario where you just drive between Cowes and Carisbrooke so you get to see how fast those trains are. Ah, Rafinha's come on for Barca. Cool, cool. He used to be one of my favourite players to sign on FIFA. Alright, 30 miles an hour out of Wootton because of the sharp bend. And we're going sharp downhill as well. Nice not chasing reds. I might make a scenario where the whole route is chasing reds, just to see what that feels like. Frustrating as hell, I imagine. Alright, here we go. I spy a tube train. Toot to our colleague there. Alright, Fairley Platform 2, then Newport, then West Medina, and then Cowes. Okay, I'm just letting gravity slow us down here. It's going to allow the train to coast. And about point 2, I'll start braking. I'm going to aim to enter the platform at around 20 to 25 miles an hour. Okay, here we go. You're red. Bad. Oh no, we're going to slow down. Why is the signal red? Well, maybe we're not going to slow down. Oh no, we are. We should be fine. Tab. Okay, tab doesn't want to do anything. Is there a reason why we got a red signal? We got the line, and the next signal's clear. I'm just going to ignore the signal and move past it. I can't request to pass it at danger for some reason. Is there an alternative to using tab? Like, does whoops. Does F1 have an option? There we go. No? Okay, I'm just going to go through it then. Signal to state my intent. We've still got the line into platform 2. I just don't know what that was. I might have just found a fault with the route, which is a bit of a shame. The only thing I could think of is there's a train behind us that could well be signalled into platform 1, I think it is, on our left. Maybe it's gotten a bit confused. Alright, we're coming in at good speed. Very good speed. And stop. I was waiting for the AWS and it didn't go off. So I nearly missed the platform again. Alright, let's get another screenshot. This is a good view. Whoops, I say that just so I disappear behind a signal. There we go. This game is very nice to look at when it runs well. I don't think I would have gotten this kind of frame rate on my desktop. My desktop badly needs upgrading. So yeah, if you are feeling charitable, I've got a donation goal down below, bottom left bar, to buy more RAM to make my desktop run more efficiently. fans of my Cities in Motion 2 series. Oh, there you go. AW just cleared. Fans of my Cities in Motion 2 series, you'll hear me talk about RAM a lot. So that's why I need to upgrade the PC. Alright, this is tricky. A downhill section with a 20-mile-an-hour limit at the bottom. This game loves to shaft me, doesn't it? I'm going to get as close to 50 as I can. Just realised I need to sound my horn there because of the automatic barriers. Alright, now I'm going to start. Buy a new PC. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's everyone's solution these days. I'm pressing Q. I was weighing up the thing last night. My desktop, I kind of forgot how old it was. It's coming up to sort of 6-7 years old this year. And apart from a new graphics card, which I got 2 years ago, and a new processor, which I think was just a new version of the processor I already had, everything else is exactly the same as it was when I first assembled it. So it is badly in need of an upgrade, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to get a new PC because that feels pointless. I'll just buy new parts and install them, and then it's as good as new. Oh, you gotta love the wheel screech of low speed running in an EMU, haven't you? Particularly when it's the third rail EMU as well. You get a real screech from them. It's one thing I hate about the Javelins is, you know, at high speed they're perfectly nice, perfectly comfortable, good lighting, everything like that. But when they're at slow speed, coming out of St Pancras and moving across the junctions at Ashford, God, they screech loud. They are so preachy, just like all the time, really loud. Nice. I'll be sure to wave from the window. You have to be more specific down south. Every other train's electric. It's only the lines out of, well, even the lines out of Paddington these days are more electric than not. But Marylebone is the only non-electrified mainline terminus in London now. Alright, where's the other shuttle then? Must be... We'll be passing it soon. Yeah, it's coming down now. The Sandown to Fairley shuttle is in its storage. The other shuttle is there. That should be moving into its siding soon. I hope it is anyway, because otherwise we're in trouble, because that's where we're going when this scenario ends. So it should be moving forward to there and then over to here. The other shuttle will park alongside it. There you go, it's moving forward now. I love seeing things working autonomously. You know, my Minecraft series, there's a lot of that going on at the moment, and it's very, very nice. This time the journey is Harrogate to Eastbourne, getting the non-stop Eastbourne? Not Eastbourne down south, I'm assuming. Getting the non-stop LNER service from York to King's Cross, which will be interesting. Nearly 2 hours without a station stop. Yeah. I've gotten on charter trains from Stevenage before up to Newcastle and Edinburgh, and apart from a stop at York and a stop at Durham, that's also pretty much non-stop between Stevenage and Newcastle. Both times we stopped at York to have a steam loco put on the front, and both times there was a problem with the steam loco. Alright. Go up to 50 now. Oh, that was a bit of a jump. Alright, where's the other shuttle? We haven't reached it just yet. shortly. Alright, 0.3, I'll put it in 20%. See, I feel like I'm over braking now, but I know if I ease off the brakes, we'll end up under braking. So I'd rather over brake and coast into the station like I've done the last couple of times. That feels smarter. I spy another tube train. Alright, I'll slow down now. Actually, do I spy another tube train? I think I'm seeing things. I'm seeing things. I saw that window. Now I spy a tube train. I was premature there. Alright, and then just guide it in. I mean, that train's rocketing along reasonably fast. They weren't designed with speed in mind, considering they worked in tunnels where like 20 miles an hour was the maximum speed. I kind of want to see how fast is that going. Let's park ourselves here. Wait for it to get close. Grab a screenshot. Hell yeah. I'd like to actually drive them on this full route. The next scenario I'll be making here will be Cowes to Ventnor. Maybe not with a return though. I think that'd be too much. Alright, and now the longest distance between two stations on the line, if I have judged this correctly. Cowes to... well, West Medina to Cowes. Oh, Napoli are winning. And I take it Spurs lost in the end. Holy moly. I see Salah's having his usual dominating the game performance tonight. It's almost like he was a one-season wonder, really, isn't it? He's certainly not going to be able to catch up to his goal-scoring record from last season now. I think it's too many goals, not enough games. Alright, we might actually have enough distance here to really open the taps up, get this train up to line speed. Particularly as this next bit here is downhill. And assuming we've got the route all the way into Cowes now. We're going to get close before we have to slow down for the 20. Oops. Throttled down instead of cancelling the AWS. There we go. We hit 75. This train is rattling in all directions at the moment. There's the freight depot off to the right there. Alright, now we got to start slowing down for the 20. Cowes is not far away. And then we got one more job to do. Put the train to bed. And then we're done. It's been good actually. I've really enjoyed this scenario. I was a little bit worried about it. But I've really enjoyed just driving it, chatting, being able to watch the football as well. I've got a good setup here. And hopefully, by making this stream and putting it on YouTube, I can get more people aware of this route as well, because it is a very, very well made route. The amount of detail gone into this is incredible. Alright, very sharp curve coming up, so we've got to slow down to 20 for it. Look at that. Supreme, not supreme speaking, supreme braking from yours truly. I'm AWSing like a pro. Controlling my speed like an absolute legend. And that is a red signal again. Interesting. I mean, again, we've got the route into platform 2. Tab doesn't want to work again. Maybe you can help me with that actually, Josh, because even if I do this and request permission, oops, and request permission, it doesn't do anything. I don't get the message up. I'm not sure what that does. I can't change the points because I believe they're all automated here. So I assume I'm just going to have to go through another red. Tab doesn't do anything. Signal my intent again. Alright, we should be crossing over to the other platform. There we go. Wheel screech galore. Alright, now I've got to stop this like a pro as well. I think we wait here for 5 minutes and then it's a flat out run to Haven Street. Obviously we have to obey the speed limits, but we don't have to worry about stopping at stations, so we can fly through them. We can get some really nice screenshots then. And again, the train sort of just about fits in the platform here at Cowes as well. Alright, so now I've got to turn the lights off here, or put them into rear mode. Return the reverser to 0. I'll put the brakes on hard. Now we can move back to this cab. Put forward facing lights on here. Whack it back and forward. No AWS to clear apparently. And get ready to return to the depot. So we were supposed to arrive here at 21:23. We were 3 minutes late. I do still need to learn how to drive trains properly. But yeah, good scenario. If I do say so myself. Good scenario. Shame I couldn't get that other train working, the opposite diagram working. Because that would have been awesome as well to see that. Passing it on the way there and passing it on the way back. That would have been cool. But I'm happy. I'm happy with how it turned out. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching it as well. Those of you that do want to watch me from a couple of weeks ago when I was watching the football and watching trains, that will be going up on the channel. In fact, it uploaded 1 minute ago. I still need to sort out the thumbnail for that somehow. I've got to remember to start taking more screenshots in these videos. Or in these streams. Particularly the train sim and the train sim world ones. Alright, there should be a message that pops up again in a second as well. So I think it's just before 9:30 we start running back towards Haven Street. Any minute now. It's all good. There we go. Now return to the depot at Haven Street. So between here and Haven Street Platform 1, we have no stops. So we can get up to the line speed of 20, then when we hit the 75 we can shoot up to that. Oh, barriers came down, but the alarm didn't sound. Interesting. Oh, I think we're actually going to be passing the... I must have got that just in time. The Sandown to Ventnor train. The Cows to Ventnor train. What am I talking about? Cows to Ventnor train. Where is it? Has it gone past there? Where is it? Oh, it's there. So yeah, that's now waiting to cross over. The other shuttle train, it looks like, has the line, or maybe not. I'm not sure where this one's meant to be going, actually. Are we slowing right down? Yes, we are. Oh, I can go up to 75 now. Alright, here we go. We finally get to really stretch the wheels of this train. Get it up to full-on line speed. We're actually, technically we're running, it's an inlet, so it's not the coast necessarily, but it's quite near the coast. Actually, I know what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And we're going to pick a good spot coming up. Probably here. Hopefully there's no AWS magnets. I think it comes up on the screen anyway, so I'll be able to clear it. I think there's one there. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so we're going to hit 75 miles an hour before we have to slow down to 70. I'm going to get a good vantage point on West Medina platform as well in a second. In fact, I might do that now. If I can get that far ahead. So that'll make a nice screenshot as well. There we go. Oh, just run out of oomph. There we go. Actually, I might have accidentally tabbed out the window for a second. So if we stand about here, we'll have an AWS to clear in a second as well, which will pop up here. I can hear it. Here we go. Ready? Smile! Speeding a little bit. Oh well. Okay, so 50 now till we get to Newport. We drop to 20, then back up to 50. I am a little bit concerned as to whether that train's moved or not from... if I slow down enough just to give myself enough time. Oh yeah, no, it has moved. And then Carisbrooke shuttle is there. Cool. So we are working. So it must be because the shuttle moved across into the platform first. I mean, that kind of makes sense. And then we'll be doing the final maneuver of the night. I always like getting put on the late shift. Oh, that signal's always red. Oh, there you go. Tab worked that time. Didn't work on the others. Should I get one more quick screenshot here? I'll try to. As we trickle through. Speeding again. Alright, and then the bridge over the Medina, right here. I could get a nice looking screenshot here as well. Still speeding. Should this go down here and over here somewhere? There we go. AWS. And we're speeding again. It's really difficult driving this bit. We're going on a 1 in 40 incline at that point there. You've really got to have your wits about you. Imagine driving that in real life. I don't know whether the physics in this game are that realistic, but that must be that would be a real nightmare to control. Now we're going up a 1 in 79. So yeah, driving the other way, trying to go from 50 down to 20 on this hill. Wow. Oh, Barca won 4-2 in the end. I missed the fourth goal. Who scored the fourth? Come on, train. 1 in 44 we were going up then. I might do different scenarios with more modern stock as well. Like some 387s maybe, or 377s. Or go really old school and do 313s. Or I could do 465s and 466s. Because then we got networkers running all over the line. Instead of just that little bit between Sandown and Fairley. There you go, let's accelerate up to 50. We are going downhill a little bit here though. Got to watch out for that. Alright, last call, because we're about 10-15 minutes away from ending the stream, so if you want to see your name in the credits, you can do one of several things. You can follow, you can subscribe, you can donate, or you can cheer some bits. They are the 4 criteria. The 5th criteria is to be a mod, but I don't think you're going to get the mod privileges in 15 minutes, although, you know, if you manage it, I'll be very impressed. But yeah, if you want to see your name up in lights on the big screen, those are the 4 ways to do it. I keep panicking. I hear the AWS, and I even know what it is. I'm saying in my head, I'm thinking, oh, it's the AWS. Oh, quick, better cancel it. It's like a minefield dealing with that. So stressful. Once again, green signal, and yet I still got the AWS warning. So now we get to experience the route with no yellows in front of us. I think I've already said that actually. So we get to accelerate right up to line speed. We don't have to worry about what the next signal is. We do have to worry about the speed limit changes, and there is a 30-mile-an-hour limit coming up here, which I'm going to start slowing down for now. Plus, you can throw the train around a little bit more now, because there's no... oh, that's how you get rid of it. You end up with the little thing in the corner there. That's what I wanted. Oh, we still didn't slow down enough. Wow. So you can throw the train around a little bit more now, because you've not got passengers on board. I wouldn't recommend it still, because it does say at the start of the scenario, these are old units, so take care. I feel like I have thrashed it a little bit at certain points on the route. And I know it's going to say at the end that I passed at least 2 signals at danger. One of which I couldn't help because I braked way too late, and the other... Actually, no, let me try that again. 2 of which I couldn't help because they were just showing red and tab wasn't working. The other one was driver error. Legitimate driver error. Because I didn't slow down in time. Speeding again. And again. All these inclines. On a 1 in 99 now. I would have liked to have seen, because I have seen it on stream, but the stream cuts off partway through. I would have liked to have seen what the Carisbrooke to Totland Bay route was like. Because the creator really wasn't happy. Every forum post I saw that he made on it, he was saying he was going to remove it because he wasn't happy with that section. But if he was following the real life terrain, maybe the original route was like that as well. I don't know 100%. Alright, we're nearly done, guys. We're nearly done. I don't think there's any more messages that come up on screen. Again, before I publish, I'm going to make some notes on things that I will change between now and publishing it on the workshop. There's another red signal, isn't it? Alright. Request approved. Now I've got to get there before the request runs out. Because I found out the other day that's a thing as well. Oh, we're speeding again. Sorry. Okay, I'm also going to add some non-AI, non-player consists in the depot as well, just to make it look like it's a bit busier. Because at the moment, apart from the trains that have just arrived from their respective journeys, there are no other trains on this route, which I think is a little unrealistic. I might also set up a shuttle service between Cowes and Haven Street. I mean, Cowes is going to be a very busy station if it existed in real life. There's a lot of stuff going on in Cowes. Alright. So again, I can put this reverser back to 0. The lights I need to change. Again, make them the rear. Come down this end. Change these lights. I don't know what the signal's showing at the moment. Red. I'm guessing it's always going to show red at this point. Another screenshot, because why not? Alright, now I've got to go into Haven Street reversing line. Are there shunting signals or anything like that? I just got a request to pass at danger. I'm about to enter a depot, so sound the horn. Maximum speed of 10 miles an hour. There's the AWS again. Alright, so there's no more AWS, so don't have to worry about that. But I will start wrapping up the stream now, so we have a seamless transition at the end. Thank you very, very much, everybody that's come in and watched this, whether it be on Twitch Live or whether it's on YouTube after the event. It really does mean a lot when people come in and join in on the streams. It makes it so much more entertaining being able to chat to people about whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the subject on screen, but as long as it's kept family friendly and all that kind of thing, it's absolutely fine. So a big thanks to Golfer and to Josh for coming in and chatting. A big thanks to Zeo as well for making the route. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, by the way. It's Z-E-O if you look him up on the workshop. He has 3 routes, I think. There's this one, there's the Isle of Wight proposal, and then there's a third route I can't remember the name of. And if you do have all the right DLC, you might even be able to play the scenarios that come with the route as well, which are very, very good. Let me tell you. I saw that 5 mile an hour even though I didn't see it on the HUD, which I need to make small again. Not make it disappear, make it small. There we go. Alright, so this is a train wash. I don't think it actually functions, but it's part of the reversing line. I'm not that satisfied with the layout of the depot, actually. I think in practice, in real life, it works very well, but when I was trying to get the AI to work, coming in and out of the depot lines and things like that, it was a bit tricky. It's not terrible. I think it's based on a real depot, that's for sure. So I'm not going to say Zio's got it wrong. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel on YouTube, be sure to do that. Also hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. It really does help out the channel when people hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't like the stream for whatever reason, hit the thumbs down button, but please do leave a comment down below. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Overtly negative is sometimes not encouraged, but I always want to improve, so if there's anything I've done wrong, or there's anything you'd like to see me be better at, please let me know so I can take that on board for future episodes and future streams. If you're watching this on Twitch and you haven't already followed, be sure to hit the follow button. There's plenty more like this. I stream 5 days a week at the moment, so there's always stuff to watch. What else? Oh yeah, head over to m4jmedia.com and subscribe to the upload calendar and to the Twitch calendar. I will be updating them a bit more in future so that they're actually accurate, because they're a little inaccurate at the moment. Alright, so we're going to do the final manoeuvre of the night. Oh, there is a shunt signal. Maybe there was a shunt signal, oops, just now as well. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, big thanks once again, guys, for watching. It really does mean a lot. And the credits will be rolling in just a second. So, very, very last call. If you want to see your name up in lights on the big screen, you know what to do. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, donate, or cheer some bits. It doesn't matter the value. Any amount is very much appreciated. And it is, of course, entirely optional. So if you don't feel like you want to, that's absolutely fine. But I will always ask, because man's got to eat. Alright, this is probably the slowest I've moved all night, actually, this little section here. But, gotta put the train to bed somehow. Got to sound the horn before moving. 3 people died because of that mistake. So where are the other trains? I can't remember. So we've got the 2 tube trains here. The Cows to Ventnor train is there. Originally this train was also going to go there, but I would have had to have gone into platform 2 and then reversed. It made more sense to do it this way. Actually, I think it was the other way around. Actually, I think Cows to Ventnor was supposed to come through platform 2 into here and then reverse back into this shed. The slowest I've... Well, technically 0 isn't a speed. Just like 0 isn't a number in many forms of engineering. But I see your point. I did move at 1 and 2 and 3 and all the things like that when I was slowing down and speeding up. So yeah, fair enough. This is the slowest consistent speed I've moved at all night. We've got to go right down to the end of that shed still. Yeah, I'd definitely like a scenario that involves starting at the depot and getting the train out for the first run of the day. I think that'd be quite fun to drive as well, because then you'll see all of the trains heading out for their first journeys. So I'm thinking Cows to Ventnor. Oh. Oh. I think the emergency brakes applied. But there you go. Scenario finished. I'll do the quick calculation. So it'd be Cows to Ventnor, Ventnor to Cows, Cows to Ryde, Ryde to Cows, the 2 Carisbrooke shuttles, the Sandown to Fairley shuttles, probably 2 of them as well. That's 8 trains, and I could probably get it up to 10. That'd be awesome to watch. Alright, so yeah, thank you very much guys for watching. Do all the stuff that I said 5 minutes ago, and until next time, I will see you soon. I'm just going to get the credits ready actually, because I forgot to do that. Always the professional, always the professional. Alright, yeah, thank you very much guys for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.